I think all the energy left me.
Yeah.
I was screaming
That'll and
a
that
lot.
are and that, folks, is our intro to today's episode. Hi, my name is Hope. I'm your Sherpa into the Mind Brain, and this is Mind Brain Movies. We have, as you can see, my co-host here, Elizabeth, aka Dr. Gremlin, and look, she's
Yeah,
wearing her merch. She's
you don't like
wearing.
it, guys.
There we go.
Yeah.
I got her energy back by talking about the merch.
No, that was it. That's all I
That was all.
had.
So yeah, you could get that merch. I'm gonna do a quick little splurb. You can get that merch. We'll have the links down below. We have Mind Brain Movies, like the logo. We have Dr. Gremlin's merch. We also have Booney Octopus merch. It's all really good stuff. So check it out. We'll talk more about it later. But this is my only time to talk about it because I know Liz will take over. Uh, Today we are back. It is spooky season. And this is the month of Liz's torture, apparently, because we are delving
Yes.
into fears and facing fears and watching horror movies, which she does not do. Last time around, we watched something very tame. We watched Scooby Doo and Zombie Island, and if you want to see that, we'll have that linked in the in the notes below. And that's our intro. But today I ramped it up a little bit, but I kind of wanted
A
to do.
little bit. You guys, he bit a chunk of his neck off. Okay? That is way more than a little bit compared to Scooby Doo, okay?
Look, look. Okay, it was gonna be a jump. It was gonna be a jump. We're talking about horror. We can't go from like Scooby Doo to like Frankenweenie. Like we got to go.
Yes, we
Um,
could. We could have. This whole time, we could have just done that. And then Nightmare Before Christmas. That's so spooky, you know? That's scary. Ooh.
so
Should have said.
my my only stipulations were that it could not be ghostly or supernatural
Hmm.
of that
'Cause that's
nature.
way scarier. Yes.
So, however, on a double front, I did want to talk about the film that we're doing today, which is Piggy, aka Cerdita. So I wanted this because Liz has a really strong like foundation with her Hispanic culture and heritage, and I wanted to celebrate the Hispanic Culture Month and everything. Where and I was like, I want to do a Hispanic horror, and honestly, Hispanic horrors are like real legit. They're
The
crazy.
worst. The
Yeah,
worst. For
they're
me. So, no,
but
no.
I couldn't again, I had to follow my rules and stipulations that there's no ghosts or, like, spiritual stuff because trust me, there was, like, 5 other ones I wanted to
Mm-mm-mm.
do. But we picked Cerdita because it was a horror that's not based around that, and I kinda liked it too because it has a lot of mental health in it as well. It's a lot of mental health in it. Um, but it's also really spooky and it ramped up the engines as you could see because it was not something Liz ever does. So
So, okay. So I did record myself while watching it, so you'll probably see some of the reactions as we talk about it.
I got a live feed on the Discord of her like,
Oh,
"What? What? No, she bit what?"
so it's that times like 100 because like every single thing I was like, the dog's gonna bite her. No. So I felt like it was very suspenseful. I didn't think it was going to be like scary because again, I guess the way that I imagine horror to be, it's always like something along the lines of ghosts and stuff because that's the scariest things to me, right?
Right.
But this one was the first half of it is just me ranting about how much I hated everyone treating her like that.
No, straight up. That was my biggest thing too, and that's why I also picked this because of the mental health aspect because it tackles depression and body image. And it's ridiculous how everyone in the town was attacked.
Bro, even the lady at the store was like, I'll sell it to you, but it's up to you. Like, just already, like, being like, you sure you want to buy the sugary stuff? And I'm like, bruh, like, stop being nosy. Like, that's none of your business. Ugh.
So a breakdown of the movie, real quick,
Oh, yeah.
is is there's this
No, no,
girl.
no, no. They have to watch it and suffer just like I did.
Just a quick overview, not details. There's Sarah. She is an overweight girl. She gets picked on. That's why her name, or that's why the name of the film, I should say, is called Piggy, aka Cerdita. Um, and it's about her being picked on and abused pretty much for this. And then, there's crimes happening, and then she gets entangled with the crimes. But a lot of it stems from her being bullied. Okay, quick overview. There you go.
So there was something that I was kind of confused about, though. Was that guy just like imagining killing the mom?
No, he beat her, but he didn't kill her
No,
because
but there
she's
was this one scene where he was like tight.
different woman. Different woman.
Oh, I thought that was a mom.
No, it was a different woman.
Oh, okay, that was confusing.
The
Because they were eating
Yeah.
like watermelon, and that he was kind of like force feeding her watermelon. That's why I thought he was a mom. Pretty sure it was a mom.
I don't know.
I was only half paying attention, you guys. I didn't want to get too immersed in it. Like I took so many breaks. I went to get an apple. I went to the bathroom. I get a little water, and I was like, yeah, look, let me just answer these message right now.
Um,
But even then, there was like so many. Okay, so the first half for me was like, I was just upset and like yelling at the screen the whole time. I was like, all the friends, and I'm like, why? I just don't understand why people are just so mean and just spout this nonsense,
actually,
right?
real quick question, actually, for you. Did you watch it in the dub, or did you watch it in his or Spanish?
Listen, so I had this whole thing because I had to go out of town for a little while, and I was gonna come back, watch it, and then I was like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. I was like, I think I'll eat. Uh, as I watched the movie, and I was like, if I watch it on my phone, it's a tiny screen, less scary. And then I was like, no, that didn't really work out because when I got home, I was like, maybe a snack. I don't really want food. And then my camera that I was using to record this was
Spanish or English, motherfucker?
no,
Which
I'm
did you
getting to
watch
that.
it in?
And it didn't work. And then I started it. Part of it was that I wanted to watch it in English because you had said that it sucked. And I was like, if it sucks, I'm going to be concerned about the dub the whole time. And I'm not just not going to be that scared, right? I didn't go past like 5 minutes in the movie, and I was like, this is just so weird. It
Yeah,
is horrible. I'm like, yo, I watch anime that is like fan dubbed, and I'm like, and that's so much better than this. And I was like, so
I
sorry for
told
whoever
you.
did. It's just so bad.
I told you. So I did witness it in the dub and in the original Spanish. So just so I could see, because I'm like you. I watch a lot of anime and everything, and like sometimes if I'm watching something like at work, I can't necessarily read subtitles, and my Spanish isn't good where I can watch a whole movie. I can only pick up about a
Bro,
third. I can only
Spanish
pick up about a third.
Spanish
So
is my first language, and I could only pick up at about a third because they had so many like slang words that I was like, wait, read the subtitle. I was like, okay, I kind of understand what they're talking about. But half of the time I was like, I have no idea what you're saying, bro. I
well, I also
was like,
think it's
subs.
based in like Spain, so it's like a Spaniard Spanish
Yeah,
and not
yeah.
like, so that would uh you know, mess with it a little bit, but
I just
um
didn't think it would be like that much. Like, it, I
or
could.
maybe I'm trying to now. Let me correct myself. You could keep talking. I need to
Oh,
figure out where exactly which country it is.
it's it. I think it is Spain. The accent sounded like it. And then there was a tia a lot for everything. Um, yeah, but you know what was
It is
cool?
Spain. Okay, I was correct. I just didn't
Yeah,
want to like bastardize it and be like, oh yeah, it's here. And my
no,
white
yeah.
ass.
You know what was cool about it? I didn't realize, I didn't know that in Spain, when somebody was referring to like the mom, instead of saying my mom
Mhm.
or our mom or your mom, they said the mom.
Mhm.
And it just sounded so weird. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
I understand, like sometimes people are like, what do you and your like brothers always refer to your mom? Because instead of like Mexican Spanish, we just say my mom for
Right.
everything, right? We don't say our mom, even though we're talking to our siblings. So when they were just saying the mom, I was like, that's to me and my Mexican Spanish ears, it just sounds disrespectful because they're
Right.
just saying the mother, right? Instead of saying, oh, my mother, which is more
Mhm.
respectful. I don't know. It just in my head it sounded kind of weird. And every time, like, it brought me out a little bit every time they said, the mom or whatever. But the mom was so mean, bro. Like, she
No,
needed
she's
therapy. Like, she was almost as bad as like everyone else making fun of her.
like she was the definition of puta de madre. Like
Yeah, because like she was like, I hate it because parents often do this whenever a child, usually a teenager, says something along the lines of, oh, well, you don't do X, Y, or Z. Parents double down.
Mhm.
Instead of saying, I'm sorry, I'll try to do better, it's that, oh, you want me to do something? I'll do something. Watch me. And then she was just like, feeding her like three pieces of lettuce and like two tomatoes and something. And I was like, are you serious? And then blamed her for like the one time where she came home and like she was like trying to like wash the clothes so they didn't
Yeah,
know that
yeah,
she
yeah,
went
yeah.
to the forest. She came home and immediately was like, what you eat? Like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
First
Like,
off,
I was
I would
so
be like,
mad.
my daughter is half naked. First off, why would she be downstairs half naked when you're eating something?
Exactly.
I was like, what is happening? Um, uh, so I've seen this film several times. I have some fellow podcast friends of mine, Two Chicks and a Horror Flick. If you love horror, check them out, please. Love them. Um, and they did an episode about this, and that's where I first watched the movie. Um,
I feel
because
so
they were
betrayed right now.
because
Just
they
so betrayed.
talked about it, so I watched it after the episode came out, so I could listen to their episode.
Mhm.
Um, so you can thank them for this movie pick,
No,
but
like I feel betrayed because I was like, oh, they were so nice, and when we did the panel, they were great, and I'm like, no, I feel betrayed. They're all traitors.
Connie and Felicia are on your shit list now.
Yeah, just traitors.
Your
It's
podcast is
them.
literally two chicks and a horror flick. Like, what do you want?
Not for you to have seen that episode, so you wouldn't have seen this movie, so I wouldn't have to have seen this movie.
Then I would have picked a worse Hispanic horror, which is
Dang
like
it.
way scarier.
No, no.
Because I had some good ones in mind. Had some really good ones in mind.
Now, at first, I was like, I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was gonna be like more like scary, I guess, to me. I
Mhm.
just didn't really know what to expect of it. And then I saw like the poster because I
Yeah.
watched it on Hulu, and then I saw the poster and I was like, that kind of looks really scary. And I was like, I think I don't want to do this anymore. And then I started watching. And I was like, oh, it's not so bad. But like, so one of the things that I understand, no, let me backtrack. I didn't like was because at one point I did say, I was like, how old are the kids? Quote unquote adults. And then
Right.
I googled it, and the actress who portrayed like Sarah, she was like 35 when she filmed it.
So backstory with this. It was probably like 10 years ago when 10 plus years. Um, the director made a short film of the same name, Piggy Cerdita, and she was the titular character. She
This
was
actress.
Sarah. Yes.
Okay.
And so she was like in her young 20s at the time. And she wanted to use the same actress as she did in the short film because it's the same thing basically. Like it was like the short film she did of Cerdita was like basically pilot episode, if you will, for the full length movie.
Mm.
But she didn't get funding and producing and everything until like years later, but she still wanted to use the same actress, and that's why.
Well, yeah, but even then, even when they did the little one, she was still like in her 20s, and I'm like, she's supposed to be portraying someone who's under 18.
So that's actually quite common in a lot of things
I know it
nowadays.
is, and it really annoys me because
Well, you have to think of like legality issues if there's like a sex scene or if they're exposing body parts. They can't do that with a minor.
I
So,
still
I
don't
mean,
like it.
there's
Well, couldn't they just say it wasn't a minor?
what?
Like, because here's the thing, like the only scene where it like made sense or something, like they could have just been like college kids, is what I'm trying to say, as opposed to like high school kids.
I mean, I they basically I think we're like senior year age.
Yeah, but still.
So like borderline and
Well,
I
so part of what I why I don't like that they use like older actresses for like the parts of like younger kids is because teenage, because these movies are geared to like, you know, for a specific audience,
right.
and a lot of the times it is teenagers, and then when teenagers go and see the screen, they're like, but I don't look like that, like my face is all pimply, like I'm going through like my work, like I'm just so awkward and stuff, and
Yeah.
they see how cool the other person is, and then like there is like, you know, they feel bad about it, because they they don't look like the person, so they have these like standards, and like I hear often people like adults talk about how now younger and younger kids are trying to appear more mature, like younger girls are wearing like makeup and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah. I love the memes where it's like me when I was 13 and it's like a bowl cut with overalls and then like it's like them when they're 13 now and it's like fucking model and it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, and then I
Like,
think, I mean, part of it is social media, part of it is just media in general, because too, I think when I was in college, I would watch my a friend of mine really like watching Pretty Little Liars, and there
I
again,
never watched that.
like high school kids, but like all of the people, like all the actresses, they're all like in their 20s,
Oh yeah.
like
Mhm.
late 20s, right? And then I'm like, well, yeah, no wonder they look so good, like they just grew out of their awkward teenage stage.
Right.
And then like the other day I watched, I don't know, something about like I was just binging stuff on like on Netflix at one point, and then I watched this like, it was like a Scandinavian like thing, and I was watching it and I was like, girl, like the lead is supposed to be like, you know, like a high school kid, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and he looks like a high school kid, he's like all scrawny and like his face is all pimply and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's how they should be looking like, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
that's yeah, so that's kind of like my issue with it. Otherwise I think she did a phenomenal job at just the way she portrayed sort of like her anxiety and her like not even being able to get a word out, especially when talking to the mom.
Yes.
And then, bro, when she was being interrogated, but the young kind of hot guy, police guy, uh, she was just about to like confess, and then the mom's like, "Don't talk about it. Like we need a lawyer." And I was like, "Ah, so close. She was just about to do it." Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that I can definitely relate to in that sense where I know with back when I was that age, I wasn't as secure with myself and like my Tourette's and everything. So I totally understand where like I'm trying to get something out, I'm trying to say something, but I'm not comfortable with it. So I felt
Mhm.
very relatable in that aspect. And again, like the even like the nervous tics and the traits, like her chewing her hair as like a nervous habit and things like that. Again, this is why I liked this movie so much because yes, it's horror and there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens, but there's also so many layers you can break down between like a parental child relationship between body image and society and things like that. There's so many like mental health topics that you can break down in layers with this movie, and I think that's why I personally like this a little bit more than you probably. Uh,
Well, one of the things that I kind of said is that I just got this book delivered, to Colonizing the Body, and I really wanted to. I was like, oh, I mean, I wish I would have read it before I watched this movie, because this is a really good movie. Unfortunately, I don't have like that much experience, or training, or like, I guess, knowledge when it comes to like body dysmorphia and stuff like that.
mhm.
And now I'm like, I wish I would have at least read the book so I can have like a little bit more to say. But yeah, it just, it is really, um it's just horrible how it, because it wasn't, we saw it, right? Like, it wasn't just the kids being kids, because kids are mean sometimes, and they just like,
Yeah,
sometimes they don't really understand like how much it affects other people to say, mean things.
right.
But I mean, one, these kids were older. Two, it wasn't just the kids, it was sort of like the
The
parents as well.
community.
The whole community was sort of like,
Yeah.
saying stuff. And the parents were so oblivious to it all. And I'm like, I mean, the dad, so I
The
don't
dad
know
is a
much.
pushover. Like he just was like
But
so
see,
used. He felt like he was an abused man, and then he just gave up.
well, yes, partially. And also, it's a very sort of like dad kind of trait, unfortunately, especially in like Latino households. The dad is often like, hey, my job is to bring food to the table and make sure that you have a roof. Outside of that, that's on you, kind of thing, right? So
Right.
he was kind of like, hey, I just do my job and like do stuff, right?
Mhm.
um and the mom, like, part of it was like she was trying to sort of, get her to like, go outside and do stuff. Like, she could clearly see that she was struggling with something, but her response was like, you should take her hunting. And I'm like, bruh, like, why don't you go shopping with her instead, right? Like, or like encourage her to go out with her friends, or bring her friends over or something, right? Instead of like going hunting with dad, so she can get some like, what is it, sunlight or something, or like go outside. And I'm like, that's okay. Like, I see where she was coming from, but she went like, like completely the opposite direction. And I'm like, bruh, like, were you not ever like a teenager? And then, no, and then she was like, the mom was just so nosy. She said like, did you know what happened at the pool? No. Oh, well then get on, let's go see. And I'm like, one, clearly she didn't want to go see. And then she was like, I was just so mad because the mom would just not let her talk at
Yeah.
all. And I'm like, and then like we'll get mad at her for not saying anything. And I'm like, it's your fault. You're the one that's doing this to her. Oh my gosh. Like, I was just like, you will see, like, I was just screaming at like at the, well, I watched it on my computer, and I was just, I just can't, like, that just makes me so upset. And I was like, it is your fault. And yeah. And then when they got to the pool, she was like, well, aren't you gonna get off? And I'm like, she didn't want to go in the first place. Like, why are you making her go? Jeez.
It's
Anyway.
yeah, it's awful. Like the nothing can go right for this girl, and I just feel so bad. Our main character, Sarah, I just feel so bad for her because I feel like she cannot catch a break. She cannot get a word in edgewise, and honestly, but that's why she connected with our main, like, quote unquote villain of the story, because he was the first one to actually give a shit about her. He was the first one to actually like see her. He's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna protect you." Like I
Mhm.
actually like he did something nice for her when she was basically chased out of town without clothes. He was the first one to like give her clothing. Like I was like, no wonder she went with him. I would go with him. Shit. Like,
Well, but also like you can kind of see how much she struggled, because her whole life was basically her doing whatever her mom wanted. Like her mom
Right.
like didn't really respect her opinion, so it almost in a sense, and if you consider the fact that she is still like a teenager, I think all of it is like really understandable, because she just was so, I think at the towards the end she said, well, it's because I can't never do anything right, I can never do anything, like
Right.
whenever she did make some sort of decision, it was to try to protect herself,
Mhm.
because she was just trying to live peacefully, but everyone
Yeah.
around her was just sort of like, using her and stuff. And she kind of also didn't, because I kind of got the hint that she didn't really want to leave with the guy, but he was kind of like he grabbed her and he's like, let's go. And she's all like, well, okay, so I guess I'm going now, because that's what she's
Right.
done her whole life. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it was a struggle of I don't want to go with him because I can see he's crazy and like
Yeah.
killing people, but at the same time, in a sense like a Stockholm syndrome, so to say.
I think it was heading in that sort of direction when she like like masturbated to like him, and then I
Yeah,
was like, okay, I totally understand. Like she's just still like really freaked out about it, um, but it almost seemed like, because then when she woke up or something, she she was kind of like, oh, like I kind of like, or maybe it was just me, like being like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
it was a continuing struggle. Like it definitely was because and again going through all this like everything mentally speaking, she knows what he did to the girls, but she also knows that well, screw them. They tried to drown me. They tried to hurt me.
Nobody
You know,
helped.
nobody helped. He's the only one who gave me
Wait,
any
wait a minute.
kindness.
So the girl that was dead, that was missing like the one foot, that was the main girl that was picking on her, right?
Yeah.
Because only two of the girls survived.
Well, then there was also the waitress. The waitress was just like
No, but they had
appetizer.
already found her dead, though.
No, I know, but I'm saying the other girl is yeah, that
I
was
don't understand why he killed the waitress, though.
I I don't know.
Because I was like, well,
I
I
think it
mean,
was just I think it was just established that he was just off to begin with
crazy.
and then,
Yeah.
and then it just ramped up from there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other girls picking on Sarah was just like fuel for the fire, but he was gonna be doing shit anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was. Yeah. I'm like, and like at the end when she just kind of, oh, bro, when she just like shut them down from like the thing they were hanging, I was like,
Mhm.
bro, you're like so good at this. um
Well, I think that's
okay, okay, listen,
you
not
were
gonna
asking
lie.
about the hunting thing, and that I think just it kept that was just another reiteration like she is good with a gun because they
Hmm.
didn't actually show her hunting, but it was a way to allude that like she knows how to use a gun,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, it was good, but like, okay, listen, I knew it was a movie or whatever, but part of me, a little tiny part of me was like, I wouldn't be mad if he actually did shoot them in the face.
Yeah, no,
Because then like when she like finally like when she woke up from like fainting and in the like the warehouse or whatever, like her ex-friend or whatever was like, it's your fault, we're gonna die because of you, and I'm like, girl, seriously. And I'm like, you know what it kind of reminded me of, though?
hmm,
It's like this is what happens in like all the like the novellas and like the like movies and stuff like that and dramas, where like my boyfriend, for example, cheats on me and I'm gonna blame the girl instead of the guy, and
that
I'm like,
so that
bruh,
that happens all the time though.
yeah,
I was
stupid.
put in a situation once, like this is years and years ago, where like I went on like a date with somebody, and it turns out the dude was married, and I didn't know because I was like on one of those dating apps, you know. How the fuck am I supposed to know?
Sure,
And then
Hope,
yeah,
you were the one that
homewrecker.
instigated it all, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm a total homewrecker. Uh, look, I back in my day, I got around, but I wasn't a homewrecker. Okay. But then, like, the wife was like, "How dare you go?" Blah, blah. I was like, "Bro, literally, if you read his text, you would see like I went on one date and I had no idea. Blame him, not me."
Exactly. And I'm like, well, even if the girl didn't know that he was married, yeah. But it's not like he couldn't keep it in his pants. You know what I mean? Like he also knows he's married. Like, have you yelled at him for doing it? You know, like
Right.
that's why I was kind of like, girl, that's part of me, just a tiny, tiny part of me was like, you know, bro, bro. But like, listen, when like she started fight when Sarah started fighting with the guy, and then like the shotgun went off, and then like the hand,
Yeah,
like the little hand
well,
thingy, that was
it's the
so,
nub. The nub.
yeah, that was kind of gross. But I was like, girl,
You deserve that.
karma. The thing that I did not see coming, and I like honestly, like I think I can watch gory things because I've seen like Vikings, like history's Vikings,
Yeah.
like that's like really gory. Like at one point they open like they just like open like someone's
Oh,
back and then like they
oh,
do the
the
eagle
eagle.
thing,
The eagle, yeah.
yeah, and then I'm like, yeah, whatever. But then when she bit the guy in the neck, I was like, oh, I was like,
Well,
uh, uh, I
what
couldn't,
made
no.
such a difference is it's like in the show like Vikings, that was more like it's a tradition, that's a practice, that's a standard how they do it. So you can see
It's
like
very ceremonial, kind of. Yeah, I
exactly where
guess.
with that it was just pure visceral, like I'm going to die. Let me just
Yeah, at first, for a second, I thought she bit his ear, but no. And then she went back for seconds, and I was like,
she
I like, I took off.
tagline. That's our tagline. She went back for kids.
I like took off my headphones. I was like, I cannot listen to this. I was like, and then I was like, my brother showed up, and then I was like, oh, he was like, I think he's cooking something, and then I was gonna be like, oh, I'll eat before we start recording, right? And I was like, no, I think I'm just gonna wait a little bit. As I'll just wait. But I was like, yeah, that was. Yeah, that hit me. I think that was the one thing that I was like, ooh, no, I would. At the end though, like at the end when she like leaves the girls to like whatever, and then she's like walking down the road towards, or like, yeah, down the fields to like the
You're talking
main
about when
road.
she meets up with Clow?
What? No, at the
She
end.
meet Yeah, when Clow finds her.
I thought Claudia was the girl. What's the guy's
Clow.
name?
Clow.
Yeah, but that's just
Or
like, well,
maybe I don't know. Whatever the
because
dude's name is.
no, yeah, because I thought
Looking it up.
I thought her friend's name was Claudia, but they just call her Clau as a nickname. That's what they do in Mexico, at least.
Oh, maybe I don't know. Dude, I've been doing 12-hour shifts every day. I'm trying to keep track of these names in a movie. I can't do that.
Uh, blah blah blah.
Oh,
One the
Pedro.
most. Oh, see, there you go. See, I knew it. I was like, I'm bad with
Anyways,
names, but
I love in the credits it's like Padre de Sara, Hermano de Sara, Madre
they
de
didn't even have
Sara.
names. No, the mom did have a name. Her name was Asun.
I know, but it's just funny.
That
Like
was weird.
it's just listed. Like
Yeah,
oh, it's funny.
yeah, that was
But
crazy.
anyways, when she meets back up with Pedro,
Yeah, she just kind of like stood in the middle of the road, and like it
oh
kind of
no,
got
it
the.
literally says Madre de Sara, or
I can't
it
really
was
see.
hard. It
Stupid.
was hard for you to see, but yeah,
Yeah.
if you go on IMDb, it says that.
um, I was saying.
Anyways, she meets
My
back up
brain
with the
went back
dude.
too much. Oh yeah, like she just stood in the middle of the road and she was like, I will be heard now. And all she said was help. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I like how she wasn't like, oh yeah, there's like more people over there. She's like, nah, F them. I need to help myself. And like, unfortunately that was sort of like the case throughout the whole time, because so part of it was like, okay, so the mom wasn't aware that they were calling her names, and
Mm-hmm.
uh part of it I understand. I was like, okay, well, because once she realized, or like she knew, or like when once the mom found out that they were calling her names, she started defending her,
Mm-hmm.
right, and being like, oh, how dare you come into my house and ask about your daughter who's like doing all these things.
Right.
Bro, the insults were so funny because I had it in the I was watching it in Spanish, but I could see the subtitles, and sometimes it was uh like the way they said something or it was translated, I was like, that makes no sense. That's not the translation of it. Like one
Mhm.
of them was like, oh, the dad said, oh, Claudia was like a two-faced person, right? But then in Spanish he said, oh, like, oh, she's a dead fly, because that's how that's what he said, and I was like, haha, that's funny. That's not the same.
Oh, that's great. Well,
Yeah,
I
it was
do
just so weird.
realize that translations don't always equate, like, for anything. Like, I've even seen, and I don't know if it's, like, slang or just different for I'm talking about across the board, not just this movie, but, like,
Uh-huh.
slang or, like, across the board, or you know how, like, certain even here in America, like, some people say soda and some people say pop, like, just
Hmm.
stupid shit like that. So I don't know if it's, like, a thing, but even, like, in sign language, I've seen some people sign, I'm like, "That's not the translation." Like, that is
Yeah,
not the
I,
translation.
I mean, because the way that they did the translation, it almost felt like they looked at the script and then they were like, "This is what it would be in English," as opposed to like trying to translate it from the Spanish version of it. Because a lot of
Yeah.
the times, I I will read the subtitle and I was like, "Oh, well, that gave like a lot more description than what the person actually said,"
Mhm.
right? In the movie.
It went
So
back to,
that was
like,
actually helpful.
1970s Chinese martial art drama where it's like, "You killed my father," and it was just like, "Ma."
Yeah. Um, my throat hurts. I was really screaming at the TV. I was just so bad at the beginning, and then I was like, kind of grossed out. Not kind of, a lot grossed out by it. But it wasn't. It was definitely like a level up in terms of like horror from like Scooby Doo. But I don't
No shit.
necessarily. I didn't necessarily feel like I won't be able to sleep at night, kind of scary, you know? Like it was
Well,
just kind of a little
a
gross.
lot of it for me, like, me personally, I am a bit biased with my selections as well. Again, like, couldn't do any spiritual or ghosty stuff for you, but
Yep. Yep.
I do, on a personal level, I do enjoy psychological horrors a lot more.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong, I love my classics. I love my Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy, like, I love I I love all horror, but if I had to pick a genre, it would always be psychological horror. And that's not always necessarily like bloody, gory, like it's just it's more like in your head. And that's just a me personal thing. So
I feel like part of it would be like so much worse if it was like all in your head, because I live in my head, bro. Like anxiety is a constant for me, and I'm like, no. Or maybe that's why I felt like, because at first I was like, do I play it up for like the camera to have like really good reactions? I'm like, no, all my reactions were natural because I could really connect with her. I was like, I
yeah.
can understand like why she would be so upset or why she wouldn't say anything. And I'm like, girls just be trying to survive, you know? And if it allowed her to like survive by like not saying anything, girl, like I would have just probably done the
Hmm.
same.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's what they say is like the whole face your fear thing. And with horror movies, I think it's psychological horrors are good because you can like sort of kind of face these situations in a controlled environment, so like how I was saying, how you were saying, like, oh, we could see ourselves in her shoes,
Hmm.
so, and that's a way to like desensitize yourself to the situation.
I just made me really want to go and like slap the mom, and the bro
Yeah, that
and
was
then the brother was like oink oink at the dinner table. I was like, bro, you deserve that slap. Ah,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that was definitely my biggest reaction is the very first time I watched it, I was like, I'm gonna get the rags for the mom. Like, goddamn.
you know the other thing that where you, because I was like, oh, maybe it was just the one dad, but it's not, because there is this very sort of like stereotype of like typically fathers or like older generations where it's like, yeah, my job is to like bring food to the table and like everything else is sort of like not on me, because we kind of also saw a similar dynamic with like the police guy and his dad.
Yeah, because
That,
even though they were both police, he was just like,
well,
fine.
yeah, well, it's because he was like technically his like commanding officer or whatever. But then even then, like he wouldn't listen to his son, one because he was his son, and two because he knew what he was doing. And I'm like, if you let the guy be the leader of the investigation, this thing would have been solved like the day of. Because the guy was
Right.
like, "No, she be lying, like she's sus." But the dad was like, "Oh, just let them be. It's just normal kids." And I'm like, "No, it ain't. No, it ain't."
Well, I think it's also has to play in a part that it looked like a smaller town too. Like where everyone knew everyone. So it's like, oh, it's just status quo. This is just a weird blip, you know.
But see, that's the thing where like it just becomes for whether or not it was like in a big city or like a small town, a lot of us get used to sort of like this routine, and anything
Hmm.
that is outside of a routine, we just kind of like dismiss it and be like, nah, that's not right. And I'm like, but
Right.
sometimes we do have to pay attention, right? Like that's why we have to be a bit more aware and have a bit of a what is it, like just be a little bit suspicious of things, because that's actually helpful. Or like even if you're not like really suspicious, like you kind of have to be open to listening to other people.
Right.
And I
Just
think
be
that's
open
the
minded about it.
yeah, because like it could be a possibility, because even the parents who were like, oh, it's probably just kids like going out to party and stuff, and then they found like the graves, right? I don't think they found any bodies.
Mm-mm.
Like they just kind of like found the graves, and then the dad was like, oh yeah, call the police. And I was like, you should have done that from the beginning. And if it turned out that you killed the mood for the teenagers, well then it's their fault for not answering the phone, you know what I mean? Like there's real life consequences to like certain things. Yeah, you can't just be all willy-nilly about stuff. Be sus about everyone's a sus person. And also, like there was this thing where I was like, half of the town was out and about like at 3 a.m. Like, what are you doing checking the laundry at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., woman? Like, what the heck? Like when the moms got into the fight at one
Yeah.
point at the police office, they were like, it's like 3 a.m. And I was like, bruh, like why'd you been outside, like
No,
be
that
stay home.
so actually I do know like in Spain that's actually kind of common because they start their days later and then they also have like their siesta midday.
There was a killer on the loose, Hope. Like,
I'm
why'd you be
just
checking
saying.
your laundry, all right?
Bro, they
God.
were all ignorant as fuck. So like I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I was like, nah. But not as much, because then the lady was like, can't say nothing without a lawyer present. And I was like, yeah, just when she was about to confess. Well, not confess, but say that like he knew who the killer was. Damn. Yeah. I didn't, you know what? I didn't even realize that the guy that killed at the beginning at the pool was the lifeguard. Because he was just kind of like, bring me another
Bleh.
like tea or
Yeah.
whatever. And I was like, what are you even doing there? And I guess yeah, it was like a little sussy that I just assumed that it was like a very dysregulated thing, because in Mexico people just go and swim at like the river and stuff, and there's no lifeguard and whatnot. So I just kind of like assumed that's how it was. But then when the mom was like, and where was the waitress? Where was like all these people? I was like, oh, I thought it was just closed for the day. I wasn't even like, so yeah, clearly I also need to be suspicious of things.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was kind of creepy though when she like dived down, and then like the guy was like,
Passed by it. Yeah.
yeah, and she didn't see it. And I was like, I wonder how many times I've like swim in the ocean and there's like a dead person there and I don't notice. I wonder how many times my ADHD has been like, oh, look shiny, and I have avoided like being killed by a serial killer. Great
Well,
Hope. See what you've done to me? Now I'm able to sleep at night. And then my lazy
whatever. You're gonna
bum of a
probably take a
dog,
nap after this. I don't want to hear it.
my lazy bum of a dog all he barks at freaking cats at the most like inopportune time, like when there's like people, because he used to like bark at like my brother's friends, but now they come by so often that he's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, oh, open the door, come on, someone's out there, so they can come inside and like hang out with him and stuff. Like, but what if he's like a sus person? He's not even gonna let me know. He's a horrible guard dog.
Oh
Look
no,
at
not
he's
my dogs.
sleeping
Like
right now.
there could be like a crumple of like a paper outside, and they're like. So
Yeah,
I do have. Well, I also have 3 dogs. So
you have a
and
big
they
dog
will.
now. Yeah.
Well, it's Lexi's lazy. Like she'll bark, but she'll sit there and be like, "Oh, Kit and Boomie are the ones who like rush out," and I'm like, the two that can't do shit in a situation are like, I'm like, okay, cool. At least I will be alerted to what's happening, so I can like grab my knife or something. Ugh.
Yeah.
They defend me from my bad feelings. That's what they're good against.
Sometimes even my dog is like, nah, you're petting me too much. I'm just gonna go hang out with my uncle now. And then he leaves me.
Oh my gosh. Well, I will say I am very happy that you went through this, that you watched this, that you did this. I'm very
Oh,
proud of you.
that reminds me, I was gonna force my brother to watch it with me. Dang, I need to
Well,
plan better.
you can force them to watch the next one that we're going to be doing, which is Us by
Is that
Jordan
one
Peele.
all very like suspenseful as well?
Yeah,
I
all
can't. I don't like it.
the next two are like definitely more psychological horrors as well.
I mean, I really do want to watch them, but like just any time, like like whether it's in a movie or cartoon or whatever, where there's like, they're like trying to find the papers or like spy on someone, and then that someone comes home, and then they have to hide, and then wait until they go like around the room so they can go like the back or whatever. That gives me so much anxiety, and like the whole time it was like that with the girl, like in this movie, because she kept hiding, because she kept doing stuff that were sus, even though she wasn't actually doing anything
I'm trying to
wrong.
scare Dad.
Yeah, I was like, oh, like I was like, oh, I can't. Like I was just so anxious the whole time.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I'm just gonna be. Yeah, my anxiety is just gonna like skyrocket every time I watch the movie. Great,
Well,
that's great.
I can watch it with you on with this
Wait,
movie
hold on. Let me check
if
my schedule.
if your brother doesn't. If you want to do it like day of.
Uh, well, I that is my thing.
So
Uh, bro, we're recording it the next one so soon.
I know you picked the schedule. I don't want to hear it.
I know, but it's because I'm busy all the other
I
days.
know. Same here. So folks,
Uh,
we get to scare Liz again. Like I
uh,
said, we will be doing the movie Us by Jordan Peele. Um Comedy writer turned horror, which is actually quite common. But comedy and horror are like two sides of the same coin. Um,
yeah,
so
sure. I was laughing the whole time watching this movie. Yeah.
shush. I
It was funny though. You know that one part that was funny to me is when the brother got up in the middle of the night and was
like,
like,
where's the toilet
"There's no
paper?
paper."
It's like, bro, your whole family's dead, but you're too busy worried about wiping your ass.
Wait. Is that was the dad dead or just kind of
No,
beat up? Just kind
they
of beat up.
weren't dead. It was, but for all he knew, they could have been. You know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But
Oh,
yeah,
you know what? Now I'm gonna be like suspicious every time I go to the. I drink so much water because like I work like in the evenings really, so then I drink water because I talk a lot, and then I have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Bro, okay, listen, listen. This is how not scary. Like if people think, oh no, she's just playing it up, just pretending. No, you guys, listen. I watched. What did I even watch? Nothing. I listened to a podcast. It wasn't even that immersive, but I was so scared of it that I took my dog with me to the bathroom. And my dog was so lazy, he didn't want to get up. I had to yell at him so he would go with me. And then he left me because my brother was still awake, which was kind of like my saving grace, so I could like not be scared. But anyway, I do get scared, you guys. I don't like scary movies. Um, and that being said, you all need to buy the merch. See how cute it is. If you don't like t-shirts, we have stickers and mugs
Mugs.
and stuff. But just make sure that before you hit pay, you make sure all the stuff that you're buying it is Dr. Gremlin merch. Okay?
We
Thank you.
also do have other things as well with them. We have more than just Dr. Gremlin stuff. We're continuously updating everything. If you could like, subscribe, comment on our videos here, we can check out the socials. We have our Facebook and Instagram, Mind Brain Movies. Any like, comment, subscribe, any little bit really helps, and it helps spread the word. It also gets the message out for Liz and her nonprofit Psychology for Geeks, and just trying to help spread the mental health awareness everywhere. Um, and
Gonna
as
eat lunch and forget I ever watched this movie.
you do that, dear. Well, thank
Yeah.
you for joining us into this crazy horror
Torture.
filled horror filled episode of Piggy or Cerdita, and I can't wait for the next episode where we torture Liz more. So have a good night,
Yay.
guys, and thank you for letting us be your Sherpa into the mind brain.
Subscribe
Bye.
and like, you guys.
Bye.